All right, we are back with another installment, and it's with great pleasure I bring you Dan Palumbo, an original gangster, a 1.5 time champion of the league, a man that I rode the bus with when riding the bus with people meant something, and an avid Mobb Deep fan. Dan, thank you for your time tonight.
Thanks for having me, John. Hello, Lee.
How's the summer going? What have you been up to? What's going on in the Palumbo camp?
Summer's been great. I just got back from a great trip in Colorado and Oregon. Saw some beautiful parts of the country. Living by the beach, so every day is a beach day, so I can't complain.
It's much better than the rest of us up here in kind of the North Jersey area.
You're growing in numbers. So.
Let's get into the State of the Union on the Braves. Some big trades, some tough times. The future looks bright. Do you think how many years away are we talking until they start competing in the East again?
It's tough. They have some great pitching, but everybody that seems to come up is getting shelled. So it's going to be a bit of a project. I'm going to say 2 years before we start to creep in that wild card, and then 4 years before we're talking like World Series caliber team. But yeah, there's a lot of young guys, and it's just they all have to hit it once, and they all have to hit real quick. So. It's
tough too, just because the East is proven to be pretty legit, top to bottom. I mean, even the Marlins are pretty good team. So yeah, it'll be a long road back. But what they get is the new stadium next year or the year after?
Yeah, next year, moving to Cobb County. So no more Turner Field, but
what are your thoughts on?
So everything's gonna be great.
What are your thoughts on Cobb County?
Yeah, Cobb. That's like the suburban area of Atlanta. Only white people allowed now.
Oh.
No MARTA system there, so no public transport. Just drive in. Yeah, it should be cool. I'll probably go to a game next year though.
We've got some Morsdorfs down in Alpharetta, but not in Cobb.
The Roswell area.
It's nice down there.
Yeah, no, one of my clients is in Atlanta, so I do go down every now and then. It is a pretty nice area, very affordable housing, really good place to start a family, from what I hear. So.
I could get down there and chop a little bit myself. We've always had that non-New York Union, where we're kind of the outsiders, no Yankee, no Met.
Kind of allies by default.
Yeah, it's like
up on by the Greg O'Connors and Andrew Blacks of the world. We had to find someone to team up with.
What's the best concert you've ever been to?
Ooh, best concert. I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna go Rage Against the Machine.
Whoa!
Before they broke up at the old Philly Spectrum.
Whoa! Yeah. Date yourself a little bit, why don't you?
Way back. Yeah. It was intense. There was a riot there. We had people throwing steel chairs over our heads. People coming out with like crushed faces. It was crazy. That's when rock and roll was rock and roll.
All right, so
I haven't experienced anything like that ever since.
So to move into fantasy now, you were an early sensation. You had three top three finishes in the first 4 years with teams that no one could forget, like Sid Bream, Tatanka, and the greenest guy in town. But since 2009, only one finish in the top five. What's got to change in the Palumbo camp?
To prep for this interview, I was going back through some of my old teams, looking at some of the trades I made, some of the trades I didn't make. I found a bit of a correlation between the less I traded, the worst I did. So maybe I got to start making some more moves. I also just think the Billy years were just cursed. So that was probably a big misstep on my part, keeping up with the Billy for that many years in a row. But I feel like I'm on the right path. Last year I had a lot of the right ingredients, but they just never kind of came together the way I envisioned it. I made a lot of good draft picks, but I had Cam and Russell Wilson, and things just they never really clicked. But this year's the year. I'm gonna get back in it.
Yes, you had Cam Wilson, Antonio Brown, and Gurley.
Gurley. I had Chris Ivory as well. There was. It was a pretty formidable team, but one guy would go off 1 week, and then I'd get a dud out of somebody that same week, and it just never had that big week, And then Antonio Brown had those weeks with Vic that really hurt me, but I did get that good trade off of Sorg where I got Cam and who else? I got Cam and Ivory for Mike Evans, so I consider that a small victory. Pulling one over on Sorg is always feels nice.
It does always feel nice. So 12th pick this year. If looking back, and maybe I'm wrong, but I can't ever remember you picking 12th. I feel like you're always a guy who's somewhere like 3 to 8.
Yeah, I know I picked first in the past, but never this far back. Yeah, I'm usually either in the middle or up near the front somewhere. So it's really going to be weird trying to be like that reactive. Don't really know what to expect. I know some guys are going to be off the board, but I mean you're right in front of me, so you kind of know the challenge here. So I'm sure you're really interested in who I'm going to pick.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's my. There's. I could tell you who I'm looking at 11. Of course, off the record. We're not going to do that on here. But I think that the good thing about being at the end is you cut the field in half. So essentially, you only have to look at half the players. It's not like there's a good majority won't be available there. And I don't know. Me personally, I just prefer it because in the middle, there's you can see a guy who's 2 or 3 picks away who could realistically land to you, and at least in the end, you kind of have a feeling of who's definitely going to be there. But so we'll jump into a little bit of a name game. You can answer if you like. You could pass if you like. You could give me a fake answer if you like and blow some smoke. But we'll go from there. So. Do you like David Johnson or AP?
Ooh, we're probably going to go David Johnson.
There are two guys, too, who, obviously Johnson had the big year last year, and in mocks and other things I've seen, he's going, anywhere from 6 to 12, and AP is even like a little bit more, 8 to 12.
AP's just one of those guys I think I owned him once because I made a necessary trade with the Swans one year on a bye week. But it was, I don't know. It'd be interesting to own him, but it just seems kind of boring to me. Seems kind of predictable. But if he's there, it's going to be tough to turn him down, especially knowing that there's not that many good running backs towards the mid rounds of the draft. So.
Yeah, the last time I was in a position to take him was the year that he got hurt, or the whole whipping thing, whatever that happened, and I think Tyler took him, and that was the end of the Tyler era. He went down with that whole case.
Left penis.
What about Gronk or Dez?
Gronk or Dez, man. Well, I did own Dez in another league last year, the CBS league, which I believe you used to be a part of.
Yep.
And he was just terrible. I don't think I can go back to that necessarily. So I'm definitely gonna have to go Gronk. That upside.
Yeah, I had Dez in here last year, and it wasn't fun. I feel like owning him, there's a lot of X factors that go into it too. I mean, Romo's collarbone is like a Pringles chip right now, so it can snap at any time. I've seen he looks a little chubby in camp, which I don't know if that's going to add some padding, but...
They're going to have to add a backup quarterback before I consider that. But.
Yeah, well, I actually, as a member of Cowboys Nation, I like that guy, Dak Prescott, they have, but obviously, looking at your first overall pick, I don't want to be depending on Dak Prescott. And then we'll just do one more. Let's, what about Allen Robinson or Keenan Allen? And this is prime. This is our prime time picks here.
I feel neck and neck, and they're both kind of those guys that you wouldn't expect to see go in the first round, even if it's 12, in my mind at least. But oh man, I mean, I felt like there were times last year where I felt like I was playing Allen Robinson every week, him or like Hearns, and it was just that offense, like garbage time, was just killer. But Keenan Allen, he's got some health issues sometimes. But I'd probably have to go Allen Robinson just because he killed me so bad last year. I'd like to be on the other end maybe, but with Chelsea.
Yeah, with those guys, it's weird because, like you mentioned, Keenan has the injury concerns, but I read a whole bunch of stuff about him that last year he did some really crazy stuff in those games. I mean, I don't. Early research, I'm not too deep in, but I don't know too much as far as what the Chargers have on the outside as far as a receiving option, and I imagine Gates' years are probably close to done.
I think the Chargers have had the same set of tight end receivers as far as the Tatanka years. Like Malcolm Floyd, I feel like he was on the Chargers back then. The Chargers back then.
They've been running out generic Malcolm Floyds and Stevie Johnsons for the last decade.
I know. Yeah, he feels like he has no help. And then Philip Rivers, I mean, it looks like he's just, well, the ball like 20 yards sometimes. So you never really want to rely on him too much, but he gets it done. So
Yeah, and then Allen Robinson, I mean, 10 touchdowns last year. I think a lot of his numbers are going to count on him getting back there. But obviously with Jacksonville, the division that they're in isn't good, so they got a lot of cookies there. And then, certainly they're going to be high-scoring games. So looking at your rivalry games this year, so you're back on board with Sorg, and then a new rivalry is born between Cody. What are your thoughts on your rivalry games?
Well, first of all, Sorg, he's had my number for many years now, it seems. He's been knocking me out of the playoffs, knocking me out of playoff contention. Can't really seem to beat him, even on my good weeks. But, yeah, I don't know. So that one's, it's a little tough to see him twice a year, but we'll see how it goes. Cody, I got to say, probably haven't spoke to him in a few years. Don't know much about the guy. No, he loves the backwards hat style. I'll give him credit for that. He's still, keeping that strong. But you might have to, catch some feelings here because I don't know, he's a rival now. So I guess he sucks. I don't know.
Two games is a big portion that you get. So
he's never been in the playoffs, right?
What was that?
He's never been in the playoffs, right?
No, last year was his first year, and I think he was 10th or 11th. But yeah, so it should be interesting there. So we'll jump into our speed round now. So I got about 10 or 11 for you. I'll fire them at you. So Chipper Jones or Greg Maddux?
I mean, I'll go Chip for loyalty, but I love watching Maddux pitch. That was probably my favorite pitcher to watch of all time. So
okay. Let's go with Ron Gant or David Justice.
Ooh, David Justice.
Okay.
95 World Series to us. So
Ron Gant worked with at MLB Network. One of the nicest guys I've ever met.
He's a sweetheart. He works for Sports South now.
Yeah. I've seen him on some of their broadcasts. He was a good guy. Who's your favorite sports TV personality?
Ooh, sports. Doc Emmerich. I mean, dude, that guy, he just brings passion to the game. So prepared, so knowledgeable. He has some of the best Devils calls of all time. Now he's doing it on the national scale. So, you got to give it to Doc.
Yeah, I'm not a hockey guy, but I see him on Dan Patrick's show every now and then, and he always brings it. It seems like he knows more generally than most of the other people who are kind of the main guy for their sport.
I think if Kirkjian had, charisma.
Yeah. What was the last CD you bought?
Ooh, last CD I bought. I believe it was a gift from my mom. I believe it was a James Taylor Christmas.
Ooh, whoa. Now we're talking. That's something I can get behind.
Yeah, I was like, she plays this shitty Christmas music all the time. I was like, I might as well just pick the artist that she's playing. So, I went with that direction.
What's the best sporting event you were ever at?
Got to go Devils, Rangers, Game 6, 2012 playoffs, Henrique, overtime goal. Doc again, it's over, but I was in the building, and it was magic.
Was that in New York or?
No, it was in Newark.
It's the home crowd, the Rock.
Yeah, the hugs all around. Beat LA chants afterwards. Didn't end like we wanted it, but it was pretty sweet.
What's your most famous celebrity encounter?
Well, I do an event with Greg Louganis every year, so I got to know him pretty well. Although this is kind of a weird one. I don't know if many of you know this story. I don't think anybody does, actually. I was in Vegas a couple years ago at the Hard Rock Pool, and Magic Johnson's son, he kind of made a pass at me at the pool. He gave me those eyes and kind of was like motioning us to his cabana, and it was a little weird. Didn't take the bait, but yeah, he's a rich kid of Beverly Hills. I didn't even know he was Magic Johnson's kid at the time, but
that would have been interesting if he was in your clique all of a sudden.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, I couldn't give up what he wanted. And Wes from Puddle of Mud. Puddle of Mud lead singer. I snapped a pic with him. Also in Vegas. That was a pretty good one. He said He said, "Go get laid." Those were his last words.
Wow. That was good motivation there.
It's a B-list stud.
How do you think Meyer's done as a replacement for Andrew Black?
I really like him. He's brought some stability to the league. Like Andrew, every year he was either threatening not to pay or threatening to quit. It's really just a headache. That you want to talk about football. You want to talk about the games. And I think that's where Mayer is, and I respect him as a manager. He's always he offers up fair trades. He's good to kind of have that dialogue with. So I think it's been actually a really great addition. I was a little skeptical at first because I didn't know him from anybody, but yeah, good guy. He seems to be a real good fit for the league.
Who plays DP in the biopic?
Ooh, well, I've been told I look like a lot of Hollywood's A-list actors. So it's a long list. It could be Christian Bale. It could be Ben Stiller's impression of Tom Cruise. Tobey Maguire. There's a long list. I'll probably go Bale just because he really cares about his craft. And, that's what matters.
What was your worst fantasy draft pick that you've made?
There's been a lot, especially in the past 6 or so years. Probably last year Deshaun Jackson was a real tough one. I think he had one catch, and it was like the first catch of the game. I was like, ooh. But it begins, and then he pulled up with a hammy. But then Roddy White, the first year that he fell off, was really bad. Bishop Sankey.
Oh, Sankey.
So guys like that. I make a lot of mediocre picks that don't really stand out as the worst. But yeah, last year Deshaun Jackson really bothered me.
Who's your most disliked professional athlete?
Gotta go, Bryce Harper.
Wow.
But one time, he was going to bat, he scrubbed out the Atlanta A in the dirt.
You can't do that.
And now, you can't do that.
You can't.
So, so that, and then, Serena Williams also rubs me the wrong way. I know I got the American flag behind me, but, she's a sore loser. I don't respect that.
Wow, I didn't think we were going to Serena. That's a big move. That's dangerous. It's like saying you don't like Beyonce. People go right into attack mode.
Yeah, just listen to her when she loses a match. She's not very graceful of a loser.
Who's the most annoying manager in this league?
Currently, no. I mean the obvious choice is Sorg, but sometimes it's good having an exchange with him. So he's more entertaining than annoying. The Swans always overvalue their team. They always think they're the best. So that's kind of annoying. The most annoying of all time, definitely Marcus Ferris, because that motherfucker owes me money.
He never paid.
Yeah. So I'll bring it back to that. But, yeah, I guess I'll go Swans just because they always think they have the best team, even though they obviously don't sometimes.
And who's your favorite fantasy player that you ever owned?
Jordy. I'm a huge Jordy guy.
I know. In a comeback year this year, it could be bouncing back nicely. I know you had that Green Bay windbreaker. There's a lot of hometown ties there.
No, the starter jacket. I might have to dig it out from the attic.
And then
when I owned him and Rodgers, it just felt right. So.
It's nice when obviously Rodgers is super elite, and when Jordy was healthy, he was right in that top group too. And when you have two guys like that, it's just unbelievable. I mean, I think I had Stafford and Calvin when Stafford had his real big year, and Calvin was just unbelievable. But yeah, it's always nice when you get that pair. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he bounces back this year. I'm at least expecting pretty big things from him. And then we'll end here. With your message to the league, to the people. The platform is yours.
Well, I know it's been a while. I believe I was in the playoffs a couple years ago, but kind of backed in. But this year's the year. I'm not dead yet. Far from it. Expect me to be active on the waiver wire, the trade wire, the show The Wire, Wired Magazine. Really, just all the wires. So just keep an eye out for me. Cody, I'm coming for you. Coming for you, Cody. But yeah, no, I'm getting back in it. I've won a lot of other leagues in the past few years, but it's back to the MFFL. I gotta Gotta get that trophy again.
All right. Thanks for your time, Dan. You have a great night.
Oh, thank you, Johnny.
Bye.